everybody. I wanted to just come up for a second. I've been doing some studying and just kind of just hearing from the Lord and just seeing, what He's having me to just kind of do in this season of my life. One thing I've really been just dealing with and talking to other people about is just accepting counterfeit blessings, or somebody else's blessing being your blessing, or you settling for something and it's not really what God has for you or what He's intended for you to do or for what He's intended you to be, and you've just decided to settle instead of waiting for Him to give you everything that He's promised you. He everything that He has told you He would do, and just standing still and standing on those promises and standing on the Word of God. I haven't been on in a while, so I'm really excited to just kind of talk to you guys and just stop by and say hi. The title kind of what I've just been thinking about is just gold versus gold plated. Everybody wants something that's pure gold that you don't have to worry about tarnishing. You don't have to worry about taking it back to the store. You don't have to worry about it breaking or bending, or not being what you thought. You saw it in the store and you were thinking it was going to be absolutely awesome, and then you get it home and it's really not what you thought, but it's also not what God promised you, but maybe what you settled for. It's not what He told you to do, but just what you thought you could handle, and He was taking too long. He wasn't doing what you thought He would do, or He's not moving fast enough, So I just want us to stop expecting and accepting the counterfeit blessings, and not expecting God to show up and give you 100% pure gold, what He's told you, and 100% everything that He said you're supposed to have. I was really reading the story of Leah and Rachel. And I don't know if you guys know, it's in Genesis about 29 through 30, and it really talks about that. And Jacob is their husband. Jacob was working for his uncle Laban. He said, I will work for a certain amount of time so that he could marry Rachel, which is the younger of the two. Leah is the older, and she was the one who wasn't so easy on the eyes and wasn't the beautiful one. But in the story, she's the one that was fruitful. She's the one that was that turned out to be the blessed one. Out of the 12 tribes of Issachar, Leah contributed 5 of those sons. And Rachel, who was the beautiful one, who was the desired one, who he was working so hard for before his uncle tricked him, to marry first, she only gave him 1 of those sons, But in the story, what I was really reading and God really just dealt with me about, and I don't know, I'm sure people have preached on this and talked about this tons of times, but Rachel wasn't fruitful. Her womb wasn't open. God didn't open her womb until later on in the story. So she was just so desperate. So Leah was having all of these children, thinking, let me keep giving him sons. Let me keep having these kids. So then that way he'll love me. He'll call me the favorite one. He'll see me and I'll be blessed. And we look at the world and think, let me do this because that's what the world is doing, and they'll look at me and call me blessed. But is God calling you blessed? Is that the blessing of Him, or is it the blessing of this world? Is it something that's going to fade away? So in the story, Leah isn't the one that's beautiful. She's not the favorite. She's not the favored one. She's the one he got tricked by his uncle to marrying first, even though he thought he was getting Rachel. And so he was upset. And in the story, you really can see kind of his hatred for Leah, almost like why, he just despises her, but she's the one who's blessed. She's the one who's fruitful, and she's the one who's given him all of these sons, and she ends up, giving him the handmaiden as well. But Rachel wasn't having children at all and got mad and said, why isn't God blessing me? Why hasn't He given me any sons? So Rachel gives Jacob her maid and said, well, you go ahead and sleep with her. Go into her and sleep with her and have a child with her, and she can bear on my knees. And just depending on which version of the Bible you read, it'll say she can sit on my knees and give birth. But then in other, you read a little bit deeper, it's kind of her saying she would be like a midwife and just help her give birth or see her through the process. But she counts that as a blessing. So I'm going to tell my husband, go ahead and sleep with my maid and sleep with my servant, so you can just go ahead and have a son, and we'll count it as mine. We will count it as my child. We're not doing that. We're not counting things today as our children. We're not counting somebody else's fruit and someone else's blessing as our fruit. That God can't look at you and look at somebody else's fruit that you're saying, okay, well, Lord, here's so-and-so's, here's Sister Angela's, or here's Indy's fruit, or here's my mother's fruit. This is what she did, or here's my friend's fruit. No, but what is he saying to you? Where is your fruit? Where is what you have done, which you have stood the trial for it, tested, tried, and true, and said, you know what, God, you said I would have this. This is what I'm believing, and this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to birth because you said that I could, and not give it up and wait for somebody else to do it. So I was looking up the word counterfeit, and it means made an exact imitation of something valuable or important with the intention to deceive or defraud. So it's a fake blessing. An imitation. So Satan wants to show you something and say, you know what, just settle for this. Just go ahead and settle for this and it'll be okay. And that's a blessing. The Lord has blessed you. And then you look at it and it's dwindling away. You don't have the joy of the Lord. It's not bringing the blessings that God said it would. You don't have a grace for it. You're out of your season in it. You're in a foreign land. You know, he's taking you, it's pushing you out of the will of God because you've settled. There's nowhere that you're supposed to be settling in the will of God. You're supposed to be prosperous in the will of God. You know, and so Rachel said, okay, well, just go ahead and sleep with the maid. Go ahead and sleep with my servant and have a child. And she was so desperate. I'm going to give my spouse my maid because I just want to be better than my sister. My sister is having children and she's looking like she's fruitful and she has it all. And she's not beautiful. She doesn't have everything that I have. Look at her. She looks nothing like me. But she's being blessed, you know, and it's terrible. And poor Leah, she didn't look the best. She didn't feel the best about herself, and she's just having child after child, being a blessing, adding to the tribes of Israel, and she doesn't feel good about herself. And she's thinking, okay, well, I'll have this another child, and he'll love me. And that's some of the women today that we all know, or that we could even sometimes be, you know, in our situations. Okay, well, let me just do this and he'll think I'm beautiful and he'll pick me. He'll choose me. Let me just go ahead and settle for being a baby mama and nobody's wife, and he'll pick me, and that'll be fine because I'll still be with him. So even if he's over somebody else's house and he's sleeping with somebody else too, he still comes home to me at night. You know, so I don't really know what he's doing during the day, and he might not really be satisfied with me, and I'm not all the way satisfied with him, but I'm too afraid to wait for God. I'm too afraid to trust God. So I'm just going to go ahead and settle. I'm going to go ahead and be the baby mama. I'll be the stepmom. I'll play house with you. I'll give you everything that you should have when you marry me as a wife, and I'll give it to you as a girlfriend. Or I'll be your girlfriend for 10 years, and you never have to marry me, and it's okay. No one has said that. God didn't promise you that. That is not your portion. But when you settle and you start saying, you know, okay, well, I'll just go ahead and take that, because it's a likeness that you're looking for. And I was looking in the Strong's Concordance, and it's adokimos, I believe that's how you say it, and it means meaning to fail to pass the test. So it's when it's broken down, you know, the A means a negative portion, and dokimos is unapproved, meaning rejected. By implication, it's worthless. Literally or morally, it's cast away, because you see it, you're getting it. So Rachel could look at her maid's children, and in the beginning you think that those are your children, and you're thinking that's something that you should be blessed by, but you still go home and you're empty. You still go home and those are not your children. You're not nursing those children. You're not raising those children. Those children aren't gonna rise up and call you blessed, because you're not their mother. You didn't bear them. Those children did not represent her. They didn't represent her fruit. Rachel was still barren. You know, so God saw Leah. God saw her heart. God saw what she was trying to do. And he saw how Jacob treated Leah. And you have to watch out for the people in your life that you think God's not going to get. And you think God doesn't see them, and he's just going to leave you by yourself. No. He sees what's going on. He sees that you're being mistreated. He sees that they don't care about you, that they're treating you like a second-class citizen, like my mom would like to say. And he's saying, you know what? That's my girl. That's my son. That's my child, and who I'm pleased, and I have called the righteousness of Christ. You don't get to raise your hand and talk bad about them, or raise your, open your mouth and speak negatively about them. It's almost laughable, because Leah was not the beautiful one, but she was the prosperous one. She was the fruitful one. She was the one whose heart stayed pure towards God. She was the one who didn't quit. She didn't become bitter because her husband wasn't sleeping with her at night. Rachel saw Leah and her son and said, "Could I have one of your son's mandrakes?" And Leah says, "Oh, so it's not enough that you have my husband, but you want my son's mandrakes as well. Well, let me tell Jacob to come and sleep with me, and my son will give you one of his mandrakes." Okay, so Jacob goes, Rachel says, okay, fine. So Rachel says, Jacob, go sleep with Leah. Leah has another child. She's just popping them out left and right, but that's what happens when God's favor is on your life. Nobody can stop it. So maybe there are things that are trying to hinder it, or you're seeing it, you're looking at it and it's not going the way that you think it should, but God is still blessing you. So just don't settle for the counterfeit blessings of God. Remember and figure out who's gold and who's gold plated in your life. What's gold and what's gold plated? What is the difference? Figure it out and let those people go. God is removing people from my circle, removing people from my life in this season, and just different relationships I thought I had with with them, and or it's different groups and different things I believed I was supposed to be involved in, or people I was supposed to be around to help and just to love on. And when people start to take advantage of you and don't see your worth and don't see who you are, you have to remember who you are. You have to remember who God has called you to be, and you have to say, you know what, I'm going to keep praying, I'm going to keep believing, I'm going to keep seeking the Lord, I'm going to keep loving the Lord. I'm not going to give up on what He's told me. I'm not going to give up on who He's called me to be and what He told me to do, and I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to settle. The people that are telling you it's okay, I'll do it, you don't have to do it, it's taking you too long, let me just go ahead and do it for you. No, you can go ahead and do it on your own, but don't do it in my name, because I'm doing stuff in the name of God, and He's going to show up, and it's going to be a blessing for me. So you just have to be so careful, and we're so eager to just jump out there and accept anything, just settle for anything, just take anything, and just say that it's okay, and it's not. It's no longer okay to settle. It's no longer okay to have a counterfeit blessing. It's no longer okay for something that doesn't last. It's no longer okay to say, it's fine, I'll be that way. And my heart goes out to so many women and even men who are settling to be with people. So I'm not married yet, and it's taken too long, but I'll go ahead and marry this person because they seem like they're nice. And then you're unequally yoked. You get down the road and you really should be divorced, but you're struggling because you weren't supposed to be together anyway, but you just couldn't wait for God to really bless you. You're at a job and God didn't tell you to get that job, or He didn't tell you to stay at the job and He told you to leave, and all hell is breaking loose because you were disobedient and went against what He said because you couldn't trust Him. So it's time to really trust God and remember that He's going to give you the real thing. It's going to be a legitimate blessing, something that is tangible, that you can hold on to, that's not going to disappear, that's not going to vanish right before your eyes, that people aren't going to talk bad about and act and say, wow, she just settled for anything. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. I feel so bad for her. No, you're not going to feel bad for me because I settled for anything. If anything, you're going to be envying the blessings that the Lord gave me, and it's going to make you say, I need to know the God you serve. It's going to make them say, what's Kairos doing that the Lord is blessing her like that? It's going to make them wonder what I've sacrificed and what I have gone through to get those. People don't know the cost of your oil. People don't know what you've been through. People don't know what you're going through. But the thing is, your oil is heavy. Your oil bears weight. Your oil is expensive, and you can't let people come in and just tarnish it and count it as worthless and count it as nothing. You have to be very careful with who you surround yourself with, what you're letting in your spiritual eyes and spiritual ears. Your ears and your eye gates are sensitive, and you have to be careful about what people are telling you. Leah's oil came with a broken heart almost, because her husband didn't love her, and the things that she went through. You can look back on her story and see that she wasn't loved. She wasn't the favorite. She wasn't, taken care of the way that a wife or a queen should be taken care of. And some of you women got to stop settling and calling yourself a queen and, oh, that's my king, but he's treating you like a peasant and he ain't all that himself. And that's just the God's honest truth. He's not all that, and you're not all that either, because he's not treating you that way, and you're feeling like it. But you're wearing this badge like it's a badge of honor, but it's not. And it's not showing up in your life. You just have to be so careful and just wait for the Lord. The trials and tribulations and the testimonies that you have are a representation of the oil that the Lord has given you for you to go out and talk to people and go out and witness to people. The oil that you carry is expensive, and it comes with trial, and sometimes it's going to come with a broken heart, and sometimes it comes with tears, but it's all worth it in the end. And Leah's was worth it in the end because she got to be buried with Jacob. Rachel was not buried with her husband, but Leah was buried with Jacob. At the end, that's who received the true blessing. So while she looked like she was blessed and Rachel looked like she was the favorite, she wasn't as fruitful. She didn't have as many children as Leah did. She didn't contribute to as many tribes in the tribes of Israel as Leah did. Rachel added one son to the tribe of Israel. Leah had 5. And even the maids had 2 sons each, and they were in the tribes of Israel. So the Lord was blessing them for just being a blessing and just being obedient. So you can see there's a blessing in, being obedient as well, and just receiving just the true respect and honor. Because of her sacrifice and what she's done. And no, she didn't wait. She was waiting for Jacob to give it to her and waiting for Jacob to love her and to say, okay, well, he'll love me. I've given him another son. He's going to love me. I'll be his favorite. He'll want to stay with me. I'm his first wife, and I'll be honored as such. I'll be honored as the main one, and she still wasn't. She wasn't at that time, but God saw her and honored her. Stop waiting for men and women to respect you and honor you, and remember what God has said about you, and keep a pure heart and clean hands towards him and his people, and do what he has told you to do. Don't settle. Don't sell yourself out. Don't sell your soul to the devil to get what he's trying to get what you think you should have right now. And then you get home and you're still not happy. You still don't have the joy. You still don't have the peace. You're still not prosperous. You still don't have the blessings of the Lord. Because your blessings are not making you rich and adding no sorrow. Your blessings are bringing poverty, and you're crying at home. That is not the blessing of the Lord. That isn't the blessing of the Lord. And I just wanted to come and just really encourage you guys to just remember who you are. Just don't accept the fake thing and claiming that, oh, God has done this, and he hasn't done it. You did it. You put your hand to it and you did it. God didn't do it. I'm not going to say that it's easy. By any means, waiting on the Lord is not always easy, but there's a joy there, because the joy of the Lord is my strength. So he's giving you a strength to persevere in this time. He's giving you strength to just stay strong and just continue to believe in him, to fight the good fight of faith and win. Not fail, not be brokenhearted, not to leave you in a desert place, but he's called you to a land of milk and honey. He's called you to green pastures. He's called you to peace. He's called you to love and joy. He's called you to abundance and overflow and more than enough. There is a blessing in the waiting. There is a blessing in waiting for the real and true thing of God. The true thing of God. And he'll show himself true. He loves you. He's crazy about you. And he wants you to say, Lord, your will be done in my life. I always like to give a salvation call at the end of my videos. And I know people might think it's weird, but it's true. If you don't know the Lord, come to the Lord. Lord, take my life and do something with it. I believe you died and bled on the cross for me. You're the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and you're the King of my heart, the King of my life. Accept him today if you don't know him. Give him a try today. If you don't know him, he's married to the backslider. Give him a try. Let him show up in your life and show up, so you can stop accepting the fake things and stop accepting what the world has to give you and what the world says about you. It's not true. It's not true. It's okay. It's okay to wait on him. It's okay to right now, I might not look like I have it all. I might not look like there's a true manifestation of the things that I'm decreeing and declaring, but just hold on. Just wait a little bit and you'll see the true things show up in my life. Just wait a little bit, because the truth is, faith is now. And so I'm decreeing and declaring the things that I have right now. You know, Leah had a true manifestation of her blessings and they were showing up. And Rachel at one point stole her father's false gods and wasn't even really praying and believing to the Lord and was upset at God. So she was just settling and was saying, sleep with my maid and have a children and she can bear on my knees. She can come and sit on my knees and have a child so that it looks like and appears that I've given birth to the true thing. That I've given birth to the real thing. And they weren't her children. She was still left unfulfilled. She still wasn't having those children. They still weren't her fruit. Remember in this season that your fruit is your fruit and God is not going to let anybody take that away from you. You know, don't settle. And women, I just want to say, do not settle for being a baby mama. Do not settle for being a girlfriend of 10 to 15 years. Don't settle for being somebody's side piece and, oh, that's my girlfriend on the side. And you get broken up with on holidays and Valentine's Day because they really got to spend time with their real family in the first place. All of that stuff is a sign. God has given you a spirit of discernment, you know, to show you that, hey, this isn't right. Something's going on. So don't ignore the Holy Spirit speaking to you, trying to move you out of somewhere and be so stubborn that you stay and you're stuck and you miss your blessing and you miss the call of God on your life. It's very important to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit, to spend some time with Him, to get to know the Lord and see what He's saying about you. Not what He's saying about your friends, not what He's saying about other people. It's nothing wrong with interceding, but in this time, in this place of barrenness, when you don't seem like you have enough, you don't know the real thing, you've accepted something fake, it's time to see what God has said about you, what He's saying about your life, and receiving and believing for the true things of God, for the real blessings to show up, not the stuff that you settled for. It's very, very, very important. And in that story, I would really just challenge you guys to read Genesis 29 through 30 and just look at the story of Leah and Rachel and just kind of reflect on your life. And even on my own life, I had to reflect and just see, where have I settled, God? Where have I said, okay, I'm not so sure and I'm tired of waiting, so this is what I'm going to do. Where have I done that? You know, it's time for us to start doing that and reflect on our lives and see where there's a likeness of a blessing, where there's a form of a blessing, but it's not the true blessing, where there's a form of what God said we could have, but it's not true and it's not real. It's time to just reflect and just really think about that, because God he's not a God that He should lie. And if He told you He's going to give it to you, then you're going to have it. Don't settle for somebody else's blessing being your own. You can't, their fruit isn't your fruit. Rachel's handmaid's children were not her children. Leah had her children, and she still was, starving and thirsting for the love after her husband, which is flesh, because our spirit is just hungry for the things of God, but our flesh is hungry for the things of men and the things of this world, and we have got to know the difference of the two. And so I just want to just come and encourage you guys just to wait, because God is going to show up, He's going to show out, and it's going to be abundance, more than enough and overflow in your life. And we're looking for overflow, and we're looking for the real thing to show up and the true things of God to show up. So I just want you guys to be blessed. I want you to read Genesis 29 through 30 and just look at that story and just see where you are. Just see which one you are. Are you Leah or are you Rachel? Not in the physical outward appearance, but are you just constantly trying to please someone, having those kids and saying, I'll settle for this job, I'll settle for somebody else's man, I'll settle for somebody else's woman, I'll settle for this blessing that I got myself. Are you going to do that, or are you going to wait? Are you going to wait for the Lord to truly bless you and truly give you something that won't disappear, something that will not disappoint? This is no longer a season of disappointment for you. This is no longer a season of being let down, of being brokenhearted because you thought it was something real and it's not. This is your time. It's your time to be encouraged. It's your time to be loved. And it's your time to show those things and no longer show the negative side and the downcast side and the broken side. It's nothing wrong with being broken before the Lord, but being broken in front of men is completely different. And they don't see a different side, and you can't witness to people that way. You've got to witness to people with the joy of the Lord, knowing that He's your strength. He's your all in all. He's a good Father. He loves you. He cares about you. And your testimony will show that. Your face will show that. Get up and wash your face. Get up and be fresh and new, and tell them about the goodness of the Lord and how much they love Him and how much God loves them. All right, well, I love you guys. I pray that you're blessed, and I pray that this week and this first day of spring is awesome and amazing for you. And Virginia Beach is a little cloudy, rainy here, but God is faithful, and we're still alive to see another day and to do something different and continue to strive to be just like Him. I love you guys. Bye.